All right, everybody, what's going on? And welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk, the show we cover the SWAC inside and out. I am your host and tour guide, C Wells, coming at you. And today we're gonna switch it up a little bit. I'll have my whole basketball preview all laid out, but I'm gonna kind of do it a little different today. Because there was some news dropped today by the SWAC that got everybody buzzing. So I thought I'd throw my thoughts in on it as well. Before we do that, as usual, you can check out the socials on the screen down below. You see the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email, and the Cash App if you would like to show a little support to the show. So that's that. Also, while you're here, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the page if you haven't done so already. Like the videos and share them, and make sure to drop me a comment, especially on this topic, man. Let me know how y'all feel about this news that I'm going to talk about, and then we can chop it up in the comments. Also, before we get started, as you know, we have our Give Back to the SWAC campaign going on right now. That's primarily being run on SWAC Smoke, but I like to put it out here. You can hit the Cash App that's on the screen. If you don't know what this is, we are raising money each month for a different SWAC school to donate money to their athletic department. It can be whatever. We're not looking for nothing crazy. We just want to put in a little bit in the pot, just to help out. Whatever it is all good. So if you can drop anything in there, man, would be much appreciated. So with all of that being said, I'm gonna let this scroll on the screen for a while. But with all of this being said, let's jump directly into this, man, and let's talk about this news that the city of Birmingham and the SWAC have reached an agreement to have three football games at this point in time. They're labeling them as the SWAC Classic. They're going to be held in 2022, 2023, 2024 in Legion Field. I wish the games were being held, number one, in the new stadium that they had up, but hey, it is what it is. But these games will feature Jackson State and UAPB this year. In 2023, 2024, Southern and Jackson State Boombox Classic, if that's what you like to call it, will be played in Birmingham. That's the part I want to talk about a lot here. So first and foremost, I'm not a big fan of moving any of these games to Birmingham, number one. UAPB and Jackson State, JSU got a huge fan base and they're going to travel, but I mean, let's keep it real. Pine Bluff don't travel like that. So you're asking a fan base to come that doesn't come. You're asking locals to come to see. The strength of Prime will get people in the stadium. I'm not even going to front. The strength of Coach Prime will get people in the stadium. But when you have a team who's not going to bring anybody on the other side and they don't have a real brand to attract, this is not a big matchup. I think this is a game that should have stayed where it was. I think this was going to be but number one, let me jump back a little bit. Number one, all three of these games are non-conference games. So that's my first issue. I do not like playing non-conference games against conference opponents. That's first and foremost. Because I feel like, with limited spots already, you are really shortening your schedule. If you take Jackson State, for instance, these next 3 years, they have two of their three non-conference games already booked. So that's that they don't have a lot of room for wiggle room. Like I said, you're missing out on opportunity for another FCS opponent if you could get it, another home game if you could get it. Financially, they haven't disclosed the payouts for each school, but the city is going to offset a lot of the costs for the conference. But I'm not a fan of this at all, man. I'm not even going to pretend with you. Um, Number one, to me, the Boombox Classic, it's always hard for me to call it that, but the Boombox Classic, to me, is a home and home. Now, I know a lot of people say, Southern Stadium ain't that big, play it in Jackson all the time. I'm not a fan of that, number one. Number two, this game should not be a neutral site game. They did that in New Orleans, I think it was 2002, 2004 and 2005, I believe. That the atmosphere just to me just was not there. And now you're asking, two fan bases that do travel, and I'm sure they will have good crowds at these games, but you're asking people to go further than either site to go to this game in a situation that this is not a matchup that you used to seeing in another venue. Like if this was like one of the Alabama teams and somebody, then that's fine because there's the Gulf Coast Classic and the Gulf Coast Challenge, where Gulf Coast Classic, Gulf Coast Challenge in Mobile. So teams are used to going to play the Alabama teams in Alabama. But to me, this is just not it. This is not it, Chief. I'm not ranting and raving upset, but to me, you're taking number one, you're taking a game that wasn't even going to be scheduled and scheduling it for the purpose of playing it in a non venue that's not familiar for either fan base. So to me, I just think that this is just something that should not have been done. I don't have a problem. Now, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, but I don't have a problem if you said, as the league, we want Southern and Jackson to play whenever they roll off of each other's schedule. I don't have a problem with that. I don't like it, but I don't have a problem with that. But my problem is that I would rather not play each other. If we have to play a non-conference game in a venue that's not either one of our homes, then I would rather not even play the game, man. Let just schedule somebody else, and when the teams roll back on, we can get it going. But this matchup has been continuous for years, so I understand the fact that they don't want to break it up. They want to keep this going. I really wish the way the division was set up that these two teams could be the permanent opponents, but I understand Jackson and Alcorn are permanent opponents, so that can't happen. But to me, this is just not the move. Now, whatever the money is, if they getting a good bag for this, hey, I salute. But I'm still not gonna be happy with it. I'm not really happy with chasing a bag in this situation. Because I don't really feel like it brings anything to the table that hasn't been done. And this game does not need to be played in this city. I don't have nothing against Birmingham. I've only been there a couple of times. I don't have nothing against the city. But I just think, you got a Louisiana team, a Mississippi team. It's not the SWAC championship. They should not be playing in Birmingham. Like I said, if you need to do a neutral site, New Orleans is probably the only place, but I'm not even a fan of that. This is a home and home series to me, cut and dry. It don't. I don't even, like I said, I don't even feel like it should be in Jackson every year. That's just me. Home and home for me, man. People don't like to come to Baton Rouge. It is what it is. You got to get in where you fit in. So you need to get your tickets early and get in there early because it's gonna fill up. If you wait game day, then yes, you're gonna be out of luck, and you hate that. But to me, I hope this is just a 3-year thing. And like I said, I'm consistent with my dislike of moving home games and all of that to neutral sites because I still do not like the TSU Southern matchup in Texas, in Arlington, Dallas, wherever. I don't like that because you're taking a home game away from somebody to move this game now where the crowd is not even going to be equal to if Southern and Texas Southern played in Baton Rouge or even in Houston. So this is just something that I feel like I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not gonna go crazy and lose my mind, but I just don't like this. Now I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, man. I'm gonna keep it a buck. The SWAC Talk Wells household will most likely be in Birmingham for both of them games because I follow my Jags. So I will be there. Whether I like it or not, I'm gonna be there. But I just think that hopefully that this is something that they do now and get it out the way. I don't want to see this be a thing with any other teams when they roll off each other's schedule. I don't want to see that because I feel like you're robbing yourself of a non-conference slot. Now, if this is, I don't know when the next 12 game season is, but if there's a 12 game season come up, then okay, I'll sacrifice one of those because you still have 3 non-conference slots. Or in the case of Jackson State, you have 2 non-conference slots still left because they are basically tied into the Southern Heritage Classic. So that's just the way I look at it, man. And I think I want to say one of these years Jackson State is going to be in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. So if that's the case, then that non-conference schedule is going to be totally locked up. If I'm, y'all let me know if I'm right or wrong on when JSU is playing in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. But that's just how I feel about this situation, man. I just think that it's something that should not be done. Like I said, if you have to do this, then I would rather not play. And I don't ever not want to play Jackson State, but I would rather not play than to have to go to Birmingham to play this game. So some people saying don't come out or whatever, but I still think that fans need to come out and support. Just because if it's just because it's your team, you should be there. But other than that, I'm not a fan of it, man. And hopefully, this is a one shot deal with this three game series. Like I said, the JSU Pine Bluff game, it should not be moved either, because that game just is not gonna draw anybody outside of JSU people. So with that being said, man, I just think that this is something that should not be done, and I know a lot of people are upset, and some people may be happy about it. So you got the right to be happy about it. Maybe you live in the area, and it's easier for you to get to a game here than it is to go to Baton Rouge or Jackson. But this out of all games that I know in conference play that are not neutral sites already, this game should not be a neutral site. That's just point blank. Period. That's me. That's how I feel. So I just wanted to jump in and chime in on that real quick. Also, while I got y'all here on the football tip, I just want to kind of go over three schedules that were announced this these last couple of weeks. Alabama State, FAMU, and Grambling have announced their schedules. So we start with Alabama State. They open up their season August 27th in Atlanta in the SWAC Challenge against Howard. So that should be a pretty entertaining game. September 3rd, they host Miles in the Labor Day Classic. No, September 10th, they go to Pasadena to play UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Um, like I said, man, I don't like Power Five money games. I don't like them at all. And I surely don't like going all the way to California for this money game. Now if they, like I said, if they dropping a nice bag, they drop a nice bag. But you passing by so many. Now you passing by so many teams to go all the way out to California to play UCLA. That's just not how I just don't like that, because I just don't like Power Five money games, and that goes for any school. Um, September 17th, they have a bye week. September 24th, they host Prairie View. October 1st, they go to Texas Southern. October 8th, they host Jackson State. October 15th, they host Valley. They have a bye week as usual. And then October 29th, there's the Magic City Classic against Alabama A&M. November 5th, they're at Bethune-Cookman. November 12th, they're at FAMU. They host FAMU. And November 19th, they host UAPB. So, obviously, there's not a lot to really take from the schedule. Like I said, I don't like the money game. I don't mind the Miles game. They have the SWAC Challenge coming up. I would, if you weren't playing in that game, I would like to see a regional FCS opponent. That's just one of the things that I preach a lot. But all in all, the schedule is what it is. I'm not going to go too in depth with it. I'm going to save that for when all the schedules come out, and then I'll do my little kind of preview of the season coming up. So that's the Alabama State schedule. FAMU schedule. They open up with a money game against North Carolina on August 27th. So I'm sure that's a week 0 game. Would that be week 0? No, I think that's just week 1. I think it's starting early. But they open up August 27th against North Carolina Tar Heels. Like I already gave my speech about Power 5 money games. I'm not going to touch it no more. September 4th, Sunday, they play in Miami in the Orange Blossom Classic against Jackson State. I wish this game was later in the season, just like last year. I wish the game was later in the season. That's my only gripe about that. September 10th, they come home to host Albany State. September 17th, they have a bye week. September 24th, they host Alabama A&M. October 1st, they host Valley. October 8th, they're at South Carolina State. October 15th, they're at Grambling. Then they have a bye week. October 29th, they host UAPB. That's their homecoming. November 5th, they host Southern. November 12th, they're at Alabama State. And November 19th, Florida Classic against Bethune-Cookman. So, like I said, again, I don't like that Power 5 game. I would love for another matchup. The South Carolina series, I don't know if that's going to be a yearly thing or if this is a home and home for now. But that's a good matchup. Obviously, a MEAC rival. That's a good matchup. The Albany State game is a good game for your home game, to open up your home slate. So not a bad schedule. Like I said, I just don't like that Power Five money game. But what can you do with that? Um, Grambling also released their schedule, and their schedule looks as follows. They open up September 3rd against Arkansas State in Jonesboro, Arkansas. That's a money game or G5 money game. Not a bad team to play against. No, why do I keep wanting to say October? September 10th, they host they play Northwestern State in Shreveport. September 17th, they're at Jackson State. September 24th, they're at Bethune-Cookman. October 1st, they play Prairie View in Dallas in State Fair Classic. October 8th, they play at Alabama A&M. October 15th, Florida A&M at home. October 22nd is an off week. October 29th, Alcorn is at home. November 5th, they host UAPB. November 12th, they're at Texas Southern. Bye week as usual on the 19th of November, bye week. And then the Bayou Classic, November 26th against Southern in New Orleans. So this, like I said, this is I'm assuming they're gonna fill another spot. Unless one of these games is a non-conference game. I think the JSU game is a non-conference game this year. So like I said, I'm not a big fan of playing conference opponents in non-conference games. This is just, that's just, I mean, I understand, you want JSU and Grambling to play, you want Southern and Grambling to play, you want whoever to play, but I'm not really a big fan of that. The Northwestern State game, I think that's a good game. That's that FCS regional opponent that I'm talking about. It's a winnable game for Grambling. So that's a good matchup right there. The Arkansas State game is not a bad money game. It's a G5 opponent. So, regardless of, what can happen in the game, you're at least playing a team that's not a Power 5 team, which is something I just don't like. I mean, I know the bag is nice. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes I just feel like everything is not about the bag. So, a pretty good schedule. Obviously, SWAC heavy with 9 opponents, 8 conference games. I like their home schedule. They got a couple good home games right there in FAMU and Alcorn. Not really crazy road schedule, but it's manageable. And we'll talk about this one as, like I said before, we'll get into Coach Hugh Jackson and Grambling. How they handle his first season there and how they handle this schedule. So that's gonna do it for the football portion. It's gonna take a few minutes, not long, to talk about basketball because obviously we are in basketball season. So I still want to show a little love to basketball. The SWAC players of the week on the women's side this week were Dariana Lewis from Alabama A&M and Amisha Williams from Jackson State. JSU women continue to roll. I mean, what else needs to be said there? We know they just murdering people, man. It's every game they play has been a blowout, and it's just not pretty, man. So I feel like everybody playing for that second seed right now. So it's gonna be interesting. But the Alcorn and Bethune-Cookman was forfeited due to Alcorn pausing the basketball, women's basketball for a minute for COVID. Jackson State defeated Florida A&M 90-34. Alabama State dropped a 67-64 decision to Texas Southern. Grambling defeated Pine Bluff 83-72. Alabama A&M defeated Prairie View 70-64, and Southern beat Valley 67-58. Which leads us to the Saturday games. These games are Saturday afternoon. Grambling is at Jackson State. Bethune-Cookman is at Alabama State. Southern is at Alcorn. Arkansas Pine Bluff is at Valley. Florida A&M is at Alabama A&M, and Texas Southern is at Prairie View. Now, if I had the game, I would say at least to look out in this portion of the schedule would be the Texas Southern Prairie View game. I mean, obviously that's a rivalry game, but both these teams are kind of in the same spot in the standings. So this is a very important game for both teams. They've already both played Jackson State once, so that's one L. But they both dropped decision to Southern, so that's another team that they're trailing. But looking at the standings, Jackson State is 7-0 in conference, 9-6 overall. Southern is 6-1 in conference, 8-10 overall. Big game Monday. Southern and JSU hook up Monday in Jackson. That's a big game. I mean, obviously, Southern got to get past Alcorn and Grambling. Grambling and Jackson State play. JSU, I'm trying to be, diplomatic, and in every game, anything happening in any game. But right now, JSU women are really too strong right now. But they play at Grambling. Grambling is 4-3 in conference, 7-11 overall. Alabama A&M 4-3 in conference, 6-11 overall. Alabama State 4-3 in conference, 5-11 overall. Pine Bluff is 4-4, 8-10 overall. They had a rough Louisiana trip. They came in good shape. They left with 2 straight losses, so now they're sitting at 4-4. Prairie View is 4-4, 7-12 overall, and Texas Southern is 4-4, 4-11 overall. So that's why I said that this Prairie View Texas Southern game is really important. These two teams are fighting for that mid-pack finish, at least at this point. So neither one of them can afford to lose too many more games. So this is a even, a head-to-head matchup that's really close in the standings. So you really want to win that one. Florida A&M is 3-4, 3-15 overall. Bethune-Cookman is 2-5, 4-13 overall. Alcorn is 1-6, 2-13 overall, and Valley is 1-7 with a 2-14 overall record. So, like I said, Monday is a big game to me, but there's still some hurdles that have to be crossed. Southern did not play really well against Valley in that game. Valley really stayed with them for a long time. Southern didn't shoot the ball very well in that game, so they really have to clean up some things to get ready. Don't want to overlook Alcorn, although they're coming back from being off for a couple games. So we'll see how they handle that. Alabama A&M is another team to keep an eye out on. They're gonna be a pretty deadly opponent. They are gonna be in the mix for a lot of things. Alabama State as well. So a lot of teams are in the mix for basically second place. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it real, man. I think JSU women are just right now they're just above everybody else. So somebody may knock them off once, but I don't see it happening often, and it's really gonna be tough to knock them out in a tournament. Although in a one game tournament setting, crazier things have happened, but I'm not gonna forecast that. Looking at the men's side, Jawan Daniels and Terrell Williams from Prairie View and Terrell Williams from Southern were named the players of the week. They both had big weekends. Southern had a huge weekend this weekend, scoring 199 points in 2 games. They really just really basically blitzed Pine Bluff and Valley. So they really, are playing. They're playing pretty well. They bounced back from that Grambling loss. Florida A&M is really playing well. They're really hot right now. They're another team to keep eye on them. Alcorn, they bounced back from their loss. They bounced back from their loss to Florida A&M by beating Bethune-Cookman 70-67. So they're still in the mix. They avoided a 3rd straight loss. So they are still in the mix. They will be a team to keep a lookout out for. Florida A&M defeated Jackson State 67-64. They won their 5th straight game in conference. They're not doing it pretty, but they're winning, and that's important. Just to get wins is just important. At least in this portion of the schedule, you want to stack up wins to give yourself an opportunity late in the season. Pine Bluff and Grambling defeated Pine Bluff 76-65. This is a game that Pine Bluff led for a while. It looked like they were going to take it, but Grambling, went on a run and was able to win that game. Prairie View jumped all over Alabama A&M 72-48. Again, like I said in previous episodes, don't count out Prairie View. They are going to be a factor in this race. So don't, that 0-2 start, that hurt them. That put them behind the 8 ball a little bit. But they are a good team, and they're starting to come into form. So you really want to watch out for them. They're going to be dangerous. Southern beat Valley 100-72. This game was actually close till the 9-minute mark of the second half. This game was like a 8-9 point game at that point. Southern held Valley scoreless for like 5 or 6 minutes, and they just pulled away. But Valley is a game team. Valley's record is not good, but they have been in pretty much every conference game that they played except for Texas Southern and Southern. They've lost a lot of close games, and they got an overtime victory over Prairie View. So they have been in a lot of games. They just have not been able to seal a deal. The team is super young, so they're making some mistakes, but they play hard. They don't quit, and they fighting to the end. But they're gonna steal a game or two later in the season. And the last game of Monday night was Texas Southern defeating Alabama State 73-66. TSU picks up another victory, and they continue that kind of up and down type of season. But they're gonna be in the mix as well. That's a team I keep saying they're gonna be in the mix. They get all the teams that beat them so far have to come to Houston in the second half of the season, so that definitely helps them a lot. Looking at the Saturday schedule, Florida A&M is at Alabama A&M. Southern is at Alcorn. Grambling is at Jackson State. That Grambling Jackson State game is in Mobile as a tournament type setting called the Bridge Builders Classic that's taking place in Birmingham and Mobile. There's a bunch of high school games and two SWAC basketball games. The first game is Grambling and Jackson. The other game is Bethune-Cookman and Alabama State. So if you're in the area, are you close? Why don't you take a trip over to Mobile, man? If you don't have anything going, check out the Bridge Builders Classic. There's some good high school ball being played as well, and two SWAC games. So you really can't pass that up. So if you're in the area, why don't you go ahead and check that out and support the SWAC basketball as a whole. So if you're in the area for that, check that out. If you're in the area for any of the other games, man, please come out and check them out. The atmospheres are getting better week by week. School's in now. So, the students are back, the bands are back, the fans will be there. So, SWAC basketball is very exciting. So make sure to check that out. Texas Southern Prairie View, that's a game you should, if you can catch it, that's a game you should definitely get over to Prairie View for in the Baby Dome and check that one out. That's going to be a huge matchup right there. Southern and Alcorn is a big matchup as well. So Valley and Pine Bluff are also playing. They basically are fighting it out for the bottom of the standings right now. But both teams they can be dangerous. Southern leads the conference right now at 6-1, 11-8 overall. FAMU 5-2, 7-11 overall. They overcame their 0-2 start in conference and won their next 5 games. Grambling is 5-2 as well, 7-12 overall. Alcorn 5-2, 6-13 overall. Texas Southern 5-3, 7-10 overall. So the top 5 teams are bunched up really tight, man. Somebody's gonna have to separate themselves. There's no room for error for anybody. Even a team like Southern that's sitting at 6-1, the fifth place team is only 2 games behind you. So really a game and a half behind you. So you don't have a lot of wiggle room. You cannot drop too many decisions. You really need to win as much as you can. Prairie View is right there as well at 4-4. They're 4-12 overall. Bethune-Cookman 3-4, 5-14 overall. Alabama A&M 3-4, 4-13 overall. Alabama State 3-4, 4-15 overall. Jackson State 2-5 with a 4-14 overall record. Pine Bluff 2-6 with a 4-17 overall record, and Valley is 1-7 with a 1-17 overall record. So you have 6 teams with 500 or better in conference play right now. 5 of those 6, like I say, have 3 or fewer losses, including 3 teams with 2 conference losses. So these next few weeks are going to really start to shape and mold this conference race. You can't, as far as the conference championship, a lot of teams, the bottom 3 or 4 teams may not be in it, but they can really, throw a monkey wrench in this, in the race. Jackson State's a team that can really throw a monkey wrench in some of these players, some of these games, because they've already beat Texas Southern and Prairie View, so they're capable to win games. Alabama State and Alabama A&M are teams who are going to be dangerous, especially at home. Bethune-Cookman, they don't have the depth, but they are playing competitive in games. So if they can keep a game close, they might be able to steal it. Valley and Pine Bluff, they both have some athletes. Caleb Hunter from Valley is a tremendous shooter. Pine Bluff has some athletes. So the bottom is not that far apart from the top. I think this conference is really even right now. So I don't really think there's nobody that's like head and shoulders above anybody else. So, once you get into the tournament, anybody probably got a good chance. Now, somebody may be super hot by the time the end of the season comes. But right now, if I was to look at a tournament setting, man, anybody that made it had an opportunity, to go on a run and win it. So somebody's gonna have to separate themselves. These next couple of weeks are gonna be separation games. Southern is playing Alcorn and Jackson, and then they play Alabama State and Alabama A&M. So those are kind of separation games. Florida A&M, they have their matchups right now against the Alabama team, and then they still have the road trips, to Alcorn, Southern, Jackson. They still have to play the Texas teams as well. So this is really not over, man. This is going to be a very exciting SWAC race week to week. Somebody's going to rise, somebody's going to fall until somebody steps up and separates themselves from the pack. So right now, nobody's really doing it. Now, that doesn't mean nobody's playing well, but nobody's separated themselves right now from everybody else. So it's going to be a dogfight from here to the end. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the month of February and March. Looking forward to the tournament, especially. So that's going to do it for today. Tomorrow, SWAC Smoke live as usual, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, we're going to recap the Saturday games, preview the Monday game. Wednesday, we're going to step away from basketball again. National Signing Day is Wednesday, so we're going to do a little recruiting talk on Wednesday. We might squeeze in a little bit of basketball, but probably not. Probably just going to do pretty much all recruiting on Wednesday. So we'll be back tomorrow with SWAC Smoke live and direct. So I'm your boy C Wells, your tour guide, man. I'm gonna stop this bus. Y'all can hop on off, and we'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.